morning. Welcome to the New Jersey Morning Show. Today is Thursday, March 2nd. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. We're so glad you could join us today.
First, let's get a check of that weather with meteorologist Mike Favetta. And I can't believe it's March already, first of all.
I know. It's March already. We've got so much cool air in place for the month of March. Better late than never, right?
Yeah.
We started off...
Mike, this is, we call this Pazzo Marzo in Italian, crazy March, because it's always, this is where it really gets wild.
It really does. And with some big temperature swings, we started off the week a little chilly with some snow, and now we end the week with somewhat milder weather. But there's some more cold on the way, and it likely has some snow as we get into later tonight and especially early tomorrow morning. This is the update for you showing that whole area in gray. That is the area of New Jersey that has the dense fog advisory through 10 a.m. So most of northern New Jersey, even extending down toward parts of central New Jersey, it is a bit of a foggy drive around this morning. And Don Smith will be up with your live traffic report, showing you some of those cameras of just how foggy it is around New Jersey. The clouds are around. You can see them moving on by, and some of that visibility bringing the view down to less than quarter of a mile this morning. So some patchy, dense fog there on the roads. That is due to the warm air that moved in last night. The warm air over a fresh, cold snowpack creates fog, and that is what's happening across most of the Garden State. With a 57-degree high today, the morning drizzle and mist will depart, giving way to mostly sunny skies later on. So, just like Cara mentioned, the Pazzo Marzo, if you wait a few minutes, the weather changes during this time of year, and here we are on March 2nd, waiting for the sun to return later on this afternoon. It doesn't keep us that warm, though, because there's another cold snap on the way and some pretty chilly weather on the way for next week. We'll give you those details coming up in a few minutes. Kristina, Cara?
Thanks, Mike.
Well, Dawson is standing by in the traffic center for a check of the commute. Is it Pazzo Marzo traffic, too? Would you say it like that? Pazzo Marzo traffic?
Sure, that works.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you say bad traffic in Italian? No clue. Not even close.
I'm only half Italian, so I don't know.
Me too, and it's the half that I have no clue on how to speak any Italian at all. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Mike. Yeah, we'll show you some of the cameras here in just a brief moment. So let's get you over to the graphics here this morning. We do have a couple things still working. It's on 295 south at exit 29 out by Route 30. The left lane is shut there. Let's, you know what, traffic and weather always go together. So let's just go right to the cameras here from my friends at the Turnpike Authority this morning. We will start it off here on the Turnpike. We'll go into Edison. Let's make this full screen now. And you can see the foggy start here. This is the Turnpike by Interchange 10 out by 287 and Route 440. Let's continue over to, if I can get the maps to work, there we go. I wanted to show you down through the Middlesex County area, like Cranberry and Monroe, East Brunswick, and so forth. There it is. You can't even see the Turnpike. You can just see whatever the warehousing facility is here at the bottom of the screen. That's about it. The Parkway, you know, it hasn't really fared much better visibility-wise, so please be extra careful here this morning, especially coming off of the Driscoll Bridge. This is out by 440, exit 127 for the Raritan Center, and 287. So definitely this fog's still hanging around with us. We go to the maps and we'll do our North Jersey report here right off the top. Southbound 208 still pretty heavy as you get into Goffle Road. That's kind of just normal stuff. Paramus southbound at the Parkway is busy. 17 both ways here. Out through Rochelle Park is heavy, and then both ways of Route 4 at Hackensack Avenue. We're finally settling it down here on 80. Westbound we had a crash out by 55. That's gone, but the eastbound side still pretty banged up here, getting into exit 57. And then both ways of certainly the 46, Route 3. Nightmare continues through the long-term construction, and Parkway is still being hit hard here both ways. Bloomfield down to East Orange. Same thing on 280 across the Stickle Drawbridge. And then 24 has been seeing a lot of extra volume here. We're getting west of the mall at Short Hills. And then again, east coming into Florham Park. And 80, we still haven't been able to shake these delays out because there's some heavy fog as well out by Route 15, out of Wharton into Rockaway, Denville, all the way into Parsippany. But other than that, and I mean, that's a lot to take in here at a little after 9 in the morning. 287 Oakland, 20 Route 15 as you head up towards North Jersey, 23. 206 is all going to be in good shape. Transit's been holding strong on or close to schedule. And our bridges and tunnels, let me just give you the freshest numbers here. There was an earlier accident on the Cross Bronx. That's why the George Washington Bridge is kind of dialed out here. Almost an hour and a half for the upper, an hour for the lower, 35 to 40 at the Lincoln, and about 30 at the Holland. So our Hudson River crossings are really busy. Maybe some of our friends are making up the day from Tuesday where they did the work from home thing and have to put their 3 days in at the office. I'm not quite sure, but so that's a busy ride here. A little after 9 o'clock. Cara, Kristina, we'll send it back over to you.
Yeah, that fog's certainly not helping this morning at all. Don, thank you so much.
Well, speaking of things that aren't helping the commute, there was a water main break in Hoboken that has finally been fixed, but the boil water advisory remains in effect. This was ongoing for days. The repair finally concluded yesterday after the water main was disrupted by a PSE&G crew on Monday. Now, despite the repair, affected residents are being asked to boil water to kill any potential bacteria that may still pose a threat. Schools have resumed operation. Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala says the people who caused the water main break will be held responsible.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's kind of like, oops, you missed, and now it's like this massive issue for the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that happen?
Hoboken always, I feel like, has water because like it's just below sea level.
Right.
Like it's like you spit in that city and it floods
then
anyway, and
something
there's
happens.
always an issue with
But the
water
fact
there.
that school had to close early and like was shut down, I mean, that's a big deal.
I was doing an event the other night, and one of the people I was cooking for, their daughter had to come to take a shower because she lives in Hoboken. She was like, I have no water to do. She worked all day.
That's insane.
It was wild.
What a mess. But
Yeah.
hopefully by the weekend it should be all
squared
100%,
away. Yeah.
Well, the state attorney general's office now investigating a shooting at a turnpike rest stop in Salem County. Authorities say members of the state police and the U.S. Marshals Service were on scene at the time. The circumstances, though, around the shooting remain unknown at this time. But again, anytime there's a police-involved shooting, the AG's office does get involved and does a full investigation.
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll probably find out more information in the coming days as well.
I imagine.
Yeah.
We're also learning more about the foot chase that ended in the death of a Newark man. The state attorney general's office says the man was approached because investigators were looking into a homicide that took place in Patterson last December. 43-year-old Raul de Jesus collapsed during the chase, later died at the hospital.
Yeah. Well, the medical license of a plastic surgeon in Ridgefield was suspended in the wake of sexual assault allegations. In a statement, authorities say Dr. Peter Driscoll engaged in inappropriate behavior with patients over the course of a year. Dr. Driscoll is not facing charges over these allegations as the victim has declined to press charges. But there have been a couple of cases this week where doctors or some sort of urgent care doctor as well were involved in being accused of inappropriate behavior. So it's interesting. It's sort of coming to light all at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. You have to, I think, just kind of educate yourself a little bit, because I feel like sometimes these things happen just out of like a not knowing, like, oh, is that how that's supposed to work?
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, so.
Being knowledgeable.
Being knowledgeable of what's supposed to be happening.
Right.
So, Senator Bob Menendez is now speaking out ahead of a Supreme Court case that will decide the fate of President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. He called on the court to uphold the debt relief.
We are here to send a clear and loud message to the Supreme Court. Keep your hands off President Biden's work to lift a strangling yoke of debt on millions of Americans. Keep your hands off of that effort.
Well, over 750,000 New Jerseyans have already applied for relief under the program. Over 40 million people around the country would be eligible. The relief has come under scrutiny from Republicans who say it is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally know people who have applied for this are eligible.
Right.
And I think, that thought that, it's kind of a handout, or it's just, I mean, we are professionals for many years now. I mean, I have colleagues and friends who are still paying off their and now they've got 2 kids in daycare. Now they've got a mortgage. Now, so this is
and
not...
forget higher learning too, like beyond a bachelor's degree.
Exactly.
Right. So then it just keeps compounding.
Yes.
And piling on top. So it's I mean, it just doesn't make sense the pushback from it. But I mean, so many students need this. They need this to survive because they're already so much.
Right.
You shouldn't have to go into debt for education. Right. You shouldn't have to go into the debt for the rest of your life because of education.
Right. In order to get an education and a decent job. I mean, it really is, it's just part of that whole cycle. I mean, these are not people who are going to then take that money and go out and buy a yacht. They're going to pay their mortgage
They're
with
pay
it.
their mortgage or their rent.
Or
buy some food.
or send their own kids to
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
I mean, it's not,
So hopefully
it holds up.
Yeah. Well, Governor Murphy, speaking of money, laid out his plan for the 2024 state budget this week, and On New Jersey's Laura Jones was at the State House for the address and reaction to the $53 billion budget.
We're here in Trenton, where Governor Phil Murphy just this week outlined the state's spending plan, also known as the budget address. The budget address more or less really explains how the governor plans on paying for some of his programs, things that he outlined in January's State of the State address. So let's listen in now on what the governor had to say, as well as reaction from legislative leadership on both sides of the aisle. Governor Phil Murphy outlined his spending plan for the state before a joint session of the legislature on Tuesday. The proposed budget stands at $55.1 billion with a projected surplus of $10 billion.
This is the next New Jersey, a New Jersey that leads with compassion and understanding, a New Jersey that invests in the futures of all of our people, not just some, a New Jersey that lives up to its responsibilities and doesn't push them off onto the shoulders of the next generation.
The governor says he's delivering on the promise of affordability by allocating $2 billion for property tax relief, doubling the child tax credit, and expanding the senior freeze program. And he says he will do it without increasing taxes and fees.
Indeed, this is a budget focused on the pocketbooks of our families. It provides more direct tax relief to help folks out from under stubborn inflation, which makes it so hard to cover the basics.
Funding for education is one of the largest pieces of the budget. Governor Murphy says he's increasing aid by $832 million for public schools K through 12 and is calling for universal pre-K.
So pre-K isn't just a smart investment in early childhood education, and we know it is, an investment proven to pay dividends throughout that child's life.
The governor also says he's keeping an eye that goes past the 2024 spending proposal. He says it's a plan that will provide a solid foundation of fiscal responsibility for future generations.
There's far more we can do to make our state more affordable and more investments we can make to fulfill the promise of the next New Jersey.
Following the governor's speech, lawmakers from both sides of the aisle reacted.
Look, it sounds like we're flush with cash and everything's fine and New Jersey's on the path to fiscal sanity, and that's not true, though. We have billions of dollars working our way through our system that are going to go away. We have billions in borrowed money that we didn't need, over $4 billion that has not yet been returned. Look, I don't want to be throwing cold water on things, but we have to be sane. The music is going to stop, and we need to prepare for that. So we got to work with the administration and legislative leadership and come up with a sane budget.
Well, it's a responsible plan that's put out there in the forefront. The legislature will now start to break that down, get into the nitty-gritty of the pluses and minuses, but I think we're in a good place.
At this point, lawmakers have until the end of June to approve the governor's budget, so we're going to be following this story, hearing what lawmakers have to say before this budget is approved, and that is something that is required by New Jersey's Constitution. For On New Jersey, I'm Laura Jones.
It's certainly going to be interesting. You know, it's a new record, she was saying. And yeah. I mean, but people hear tax cuts and they get very excited. So
yeah, and I think the expanding the pre-K, that's the other.
It's huge.
It's huge. So I mean, it's it's a lot of spending, but there's a lot of benefit that goes along with it. Right. So I've always been saying I don't mind to spend good money on good things. You know what I mean? Like
unnecessary things.
Unnecessary things.
Not frivolous things.
Exactly. So I'd like to. I'm a visual learner. I'm like, I need the bill breakdown, but
yeah, you need a bracket.
Yeah, exactly. It is March after all. Everything comes in brackets this month.
That makes sense. Totally.
Coming up, Senator John Bramnick is here to tell us about his Seinfeld bill and what it means for telemarketers.
That's a good one. And another dolphin, unfortunately, has died off the Jersey Shore. What is happening? We'll tell you how local officials are responding.
Hey guys, don't forget, you can always find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do. We are here at the iconic Drum Thwacket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back. Let's head back to meteorologist Mike Favetta for another look at the forecast. Another kind of wet, kind of nasty night coming in for us tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, and especially with a few snowflakes mixed in, predominantly way northern New Jersey. I'm talking like Sussex County up toward the high Kittatinny Mountains. Most of the state just sees rain, and it's predominantly a wet start to the weekend. But I think Sunday clears out nicely, especially in the afternoon. We have a bit of fog around New Jersey this morning. If you woke up early, looked outside, and couldn't see far across the street, it's the fog, and it's because of a very mild morning, respectively, with temperatures that will stay in the upper 50s and low 60s most of today. Even Sussex County, typically the chilly spot, only 53 for you. That's a pretty mild day, even for the second day of March. 57 in Newark, 60 in Trenton, and 62 in Camden. Now, where these temperatures are a little bit milder, down toward Trenton and Camden, that's where you have that fog. That will linger right through at least 10 a.m. And then going into the afternoon, I think we'll see a little bit of clearing later on. So while the rest of the afternoon sees some breaks of sun, tomorrow has another round of rain later on in the afternoon, and a lot of that wet weather sticks around with some maybe wet snowflakes mixed in toward northern parts of the state, but most of New Jersey will just be plain rain. You have to head up to New England to see some significant snows, and even upstate. Then by the time we get to Saturday, most of that wet weather departs, and Sunday looks quite pleasant. Notice how temperatures hold in the 40s, so the first weekend in March going to be one of the cooler weekends that we see. In fact, the longer range trend, and I'll show you that coming up with the 7-day forecast, has cooler than average weather. This is after a winter so far that we have seen that was, in some parts of New Jersey, the warmest on record. That's up in toward the north central parts of the state, kind of centered around Morris County. Warmest winter in over 124 years. So really incredible with the records going back that far.
That's crazy.
Temperature-wise, it was warm.
Wow. Just a daffodil update, by the way, in my front yard. They're now like wilting. They're like half bloomed because of the warm weather. Wow. And now they're wilting because of the cold weather that we just had this past week.
Nothing knows what to do anymore.
So they're just as confused as we are.
Yeah.
Right. And you think a lot of those big businesses, like there's that tulip farm down in Cream Ridge.
Yes, beautiful.
You know, are they in bloom early? Is the cold snap in March going to affect them?
Right. Are they going to be opening early? I think I just saw one of their their notices on Instagram basically saying, we are still opening next month, whether or not it's going to look as good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because of the weather.
That's crazy.
All right,
Let's see if we get a farmer on to discuss all of this. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, the impact.
I'm down with that.
Thank you, Mike.
You bet.
All right, guys, let's check back in with Don Smith, see how that commute is shaping up. And wet roads and fog do not make for a pretty picture on the roadways.
It does not carry, no matter what language you say it, it's just awful. I mean, it's just bad all the way around. A lot of it is certainly weather related. Let's go to the graphics here this morning, and sorry to put the graphics up without me. We're using a new system, friends, so just kind of working out the little gremlins. It's the Hudson River Crossings. The George Washington Bridge is a solid 90 minutes plus. I mean, probably closer to the 2-hour mark because the eastbound Cross Bronx has had something going on underneath the Jerome Avenue overpass all morning long. It looks like whatever was there is now gone. I checked in with my friends over at the city DOT and their cameras, and they had it zoomed in underneath the overpass. They were looking for something or had their eyes on something, but I see all 3 lanes are open. So, but the damage certainly done here, about 90 to almost 2 hours for the upper level to the George, about an hour for the lower, a half an hour at the Lincoln, and about same thing at the Holland. I think some of the issues at the Lincoln are maybe some residual vehicles coming down to the Lincoln to try to avoid that 90 plus minutes there at the George Washington Bridge. Let's go to the incident list. The only thing we're still saying is this accident here on the Parkway south of 149. All lanes are open. That's completely gone at this point. We will go to the maps. You can see it's right here just at Jerome because then it goes to green. So whatever was there is now gone. Let's widen up the maps here this morning. And if you're getting to the Holland Tunnel, Skyway still pretty crowded here underneath the covered roadway. Bay Extension, a little heavy here at 14, which is usually the case pretty much 24/7 through the construction. And south on the Parkway here in Clark at 135, still trying to get a handle what's going on here. I know this section of the Parkway is pretty banged up as far as the pavement is concerned, and certainly going to wait till the weather gets warmer to repave it. But there's a bunch of potholes here getting out to 135, so maybe they're doing some pothole repairs or avoiding it. Not 100% sure. We go into Central Jersey now, 78, 22, 206. 18 is a little bit busy here, heading south of 287. Again, there's some fog still hanging around with us at the Driscoll Bridge. Be careful. Same thing down through the PNC Bank Art Center and 116. The Turnpike is good. Route 9, 18, 195. All is in the clear heading out to Point Pleasant. Brick and Asbury Park were fine. Let me just see if I can bring in that camera out in Homedale. If I can show you the Parkway here at 116. Let's see if that is going to be working for us. Nope, that's it. North of 116, south of 116. Actually, visibility doesn't look bad, and I wasn't paying attention here, but it looks like it's starting to ease up just a bit here at 117. So again, be careful. Transit still is in pretty good shape, going to be on or close to schedule. It really is just this Hudson River Crossings dilemma at the George Washington Bridge. But, you know, when is the George? Never an issue, right? It's always got something going on 24/7, it seems like, with its road work or traffic. So again, try to avoid it if you can. And that's what's happening here, ladies. Getting closer to 9:30. In the next report, we'll take a look at South Jersey and some of the short points getting down into Cape May.
All right. Donnie, thank you.
Well, another dolphin has died after washing up on shore. This time, a bottlenose dolphin was found dead along the beach in Avalon, becoming the 4th in the last 10 days. The news comes as 30 New Jersey mayors have now signed a letter asking Governor Murphy to place a moratorium on wind farm development to allow for a full investigation. Again, the dolphins and the whales, you know, unfortunately, they keep finding them dead on the shores.
Right.
And so
something's going on.
Something's up.
Yeah.
Whether it's who even knows, but they want to look into it.
Right.
So authorities are also looking for help in finding people who illegally dumped waste oil sludge and tanks in the Winslow Wildlife Management area. Officials say the dumping occurred early last month and has since been cleaned up and removed. Anyone with information about the waste is asked to contact the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
That's heartbreaking to see. I mean, come on.
It really is, and it's just, I mean, I don't, you know, and I don't know, I'm sure things like that require a little more work, but even as a kid, like, I remember, like, if my dad, you know, cleans stuff, my dad's a very, like, DIY kind of guy, like, I remember him loading up the, you know, the back of a van and taking things over to the local dump, like, there's places and systems for this.
Exactly.
You know, so it's just really uncalled for.
Yeah, it's lazy is what it is. It's unnecessary.
Absolutely.
Well, check this out. New data from the Federal Trade Commission shows New Jerseyans lost $231 million to scammers in 2022, marking a 77% increase from the previous year. That money was lost from over 48,000 fraud cases that were reported in 2022. The average loss to scammers in New Jersey was around $800. Wow. Speaking of which, Toms River police are now warning residents to be on alert after several phone scams were reported just in recent days. On social media, the department says the scam callers, they call and they say they're from Toms River police. They tell residents that a loved one is experiencing an emergency, awful, and then they ask them to send money immediately. I mean, you get that kind of phone call, And your brain is not stopping.
Your brain shuts off at that point.
Right.
I mean, they've studied it. When something awful like that happens, I mean, you are not thinking, you're not logical.
It's
your reaction is
disgusting.
in charge
Yeah.
at that point. But it's just.
So now they're saying, listen, we would not just call you and ask you to send money.
No.
Like, just take a pause if you can to really,
Right.
think about the situation.
Think it all the way
and
through. Yeah.
It's just awful. But they do. I mean, they're getting smarter. They are
Yes.
getting smarter, and
Yeah.
it's how many times have you gotten a text or an email and you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this doesn't
sit quite right.
So it's just a shame.
Got to keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So earlier this week, the state Senate passed a bill that would require telemarketers to identify themselves within the first 30 seconds of the phone call. The measure has been nicknamed the Seinfeld bill and now heads to Assembly for consideration.
And joining us now to talk about it is the bill's sponsor, Senator John Bramnick. Thanks so much for being with us.
Great to be with you.
So, Senator, really quickly, when you say identify themselves in the first 30 seconds, I mean, what does that look like? Like a full name and business? What are we looking for?
Well, if you've gotten a call, they go, "How are you today?" I go, "I'm not doing too well." Right? And do you have it? And I'm calling about your windows. I always go, "I don't have any windows in my house." Right? So instead of all that gobbledygook, they go, "My name's John Bramnick. My phone number is 908-233-3313." Right? Okay. Now tell me what you want. Now, if they're a legitimate company, right, and they're not in some cave out, in some foreign land, I don't think they're going to have any problem telling you who they are. And so consequently, this is not a big deal. Until I called it the Seinfeld bill, the bill didn't move in the legislature.
That's interesting. Why did you call it the Seinfeld bill, for those who don't know?
Well, I was sitting in committee talking about the bill, and what popped in my mind was the fact that Jerry Seinfeld got a call, and he said, "Listen, can I have your number at home?" The guy said, "Of course not." He goes, "Yeah, of course. You don't want me to call you tonight at home either." And he hangs up. So it just popped in my mind. And then all of a sudden, the bill got some legs, because before that it was a Dracula bill, meaning it never saw the light of day.
I love it. But tell me how this would be regulated, right? So if a telemarketer calls you and does not identify themselves in 30 seconds, what happens next?
Well, the legitimate operators are going to do it, right? Because they know it's a disorderly person's offense. So the problem is, if you're a criminal and you want to avoid the law, that's true in any area. But for people who are doing, legitimate business, they're going to follow the law. Yeah, can we catch everybody? No, there's a lot of people who are going to be under the darkness of whatever phone number they have. As I said, we don't catch all the bad guys, but maybe this will help some people find out who's on the other phone line, who's calling me. Is that asking for too much? Right? I ask people for the phone number and they always hang up.
So it's almost kind of also a partnership with the consumer, right? Like you also have to kind of do your due diligence.
That's what I was thinking. It kind of lets people, but I feel like it also lets people know, hey, if this person doesn't identify themselves, just hang up. I know that it's a scam call.
Yeah.
Well, here's my advice. In law school, I remember the professor said, "You're not under oath when someone calls you. So you don't have to tell them the truth. When you're under oath, you do. So when someone calls you, why would you give them any information? I give no information to no one on the phone, period."
Smart. That is a really good point. You're not under oath.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
That is a good takeaway.
Absolutely.
So what are the next steps in terms of this bill kind of passing through the Assembly? You said it was a Dracula bill. It's slowly coming alive. So what's next?
So in the Assembly, it's coming alive. I think it's going to be posted in the next month. And then if we get the bill passed, I'm going to look for some cast members from Seinfeld. I spoke to the Senate president as well, and maybe Governor Murphy will help us, and maybe we can get somebody who's been on the show, and that's our goal. But remember, in today's world, if you don't get any publicity and you don't get any attention, it doesn't work. So we're going to try to get some Seinfeld people here.
That would be great. I can see George Costanza, participating.
Definitely
for sure.
Coming out. Senator, where can folks go to find out more about the bill if they want to, throw their support behind it or speak to someone?
Well, if you have nothing to do, you can always go on njledge.org. You can learn everything there is. You just punch in my name and the bill will come up, see all the co-sponsors. But I think we're doing pretty well. The public can spend their time somewhere else right now because I think we got this under control, because no one has said they don't support the Seinfeld bill publicly. Now, there's always somebody in Trenton who's against it, but if they're against it, they're being real secretive about it. So, sometimes you don't know how a bill gets stopped, and it's something that's done carefully behind the scenes, but right now I don't feel any opposition.
Okay.
It kind of makes sense. I mean, it's a common sense
It
kind of
is
bill,
a common sense kind of bill.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
seem...
I lie all the time to the people who call me, and they go, how are you doing today? Especially when they're trying to sell me something. So I'm not doing that well. I just filed for bankruptcy. How can I help you?
We'll have to keep that in mind.
Well, I was going to say, I'm going to keep all these tips in my
I know, I
back
gotta write
pocket.
this
Senator
down.
Bramnick, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a great
Take care.
weekend.
You too.
All right, guys, coming up, I can't get over this one. How 7 sheep broke free in Patterson, and now they have a new home.
This is not a joke. Plus, we'll hear how the Salvation Army is helping provide free music lessons to kids.
And as always, you can find us over on social media. Search for @NJ Morning Show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Click follow.
You're watching On New Jersey, the Garden State source for news, talk, sports, and entertainment.
We have big news here for On New Jersey.
We have an amazing show tonight, as we always do.
We are here at the iconic Drum Placket in Princeton with First Lady Tammy Murphy.
Will audiences be expecting you to talk Real Housewives issues?
We're going to be discussing everything from working with small businesses to mental health initiatives.
Work has begun on the New Jersey Hall of Fame at American Dream Mall.
Here now to give us some more insight on the Giants' 5-1 start is Paul Patino. Paul, great to have you back on. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you 10 times harder.
Watch the Italian America Show every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on News 12 Plus and celebrate the best of Italian American culture. Each week, we will feature an exclusive interview with a prominent Italian American from around the country. You can watch the Italian America Show on Optimum 61, Verizon 530, or stream live from anywhere on News12.plus. For more on Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, visit osaya.org and follow along on social media.
Welcome back to the New Jersey Morning Show. Meteorologist Mike Favetta is on deck with another look at the forecast. And which series of outerwear do I need for this weekend?
That's a great question. That's an excellent question. I would just take the whole wardrobe. It's one of those things, and it's funny because Stephanie and I are doing the home renovation, so this is the part where we clean out the closets, and we can only keep like a certain number of items in the home until the new closets are finished. You can't figure out what to wear because the temperature drives up and down by 50 degrees every day. So I understand. I feel your pain. I get it. It's rough. And of course, I'm the one, the meteorologist, getting blamed.
You get all the
because
emails.
I don't know the weather more than 14 days out. So, okay, rant over. The point is, there's some pretty big temperature swings that come through. We had the snow on Tuesday, and now going into this afternoon, it'll be sunny with 55 degrees on tap. So some really big swings returning with cold weather back in play later on tomorrow night and especially into Saturday morning. Now, looking ahead, there is that drizzle and fog that's around this morning, but it's just a morning deal. The afternoon turns nice and dry by later on, especially toward this evening. And then we have to keep our eye on another weather system that brings in colder air and some rain with maybe mixed with a few snowflakes starting tomorrow going into tomorrow evening. So Friday's going to be pretty messy around New Jersey. Then we head into the weekend with some colder weather, and I think there will be some below average temperatures as we head into the final part of the weekend and early next week, especially heading into the portion of March that typically gets a little crazy, and that is the first part of March. You can see most of the country, New Jersey included, right there, even in the Northeast, seeing below average temperatures for the first 14 days of the month. So the first half of the month looking chilly, and it likely stays chilly going into the middle of the month. But if you happen to be out this weekend, on Sunday specifically, Belmar is having a St. Patrick's Day parade, and the weather actually looks pretty decent. 49 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. So a great way to celebrate and enjoy the sun, especially later on this weekend. 7-day forecast. Lots of rain tomorrow. It's going to be a wet day, and some of that rain lingers into Saturday morning. I think Saturday afternoon dries out. Then by Sunday into Monday, notice the temperature climbing back into the low 50s, but it's going to be a chilly start each morning with those morning temperatures down in the 30s. So some colder weather ahead, some weather that, yes, is typical for March, within a few degrees, but colder than we've been experiencing, especially coming off our record warmth summer for some parts of New Jersey. Warmest winter, did I say summer? Warmest winter ever recorded in some parts of the state because of those records going back over 100 years, and the thermometers saying, no, we've had an average warmth that exceeds anything in recorded history. So some really incredible warmth there. That probably will take us into the first part of spring. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think about.
I keep thinking, actually, every time it gets cold now, I'm like, wasn't it like 70 degrees in January?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple times. Not just once.
That's what
a couple
I'm saying.
times.
Like, there was like multiple 70-degree days already. And I was like, that's like, I give up.
Yeah.
How you haven't given up, I don't know, but I give up.
Yeah, just roll with it. All right, Mike.
Right.
Thanks, Mike.
Don Smith has another look at the traffic. He's rolling with it for sure. How are we looking on those roads?
Yeah, we're rolling with it pretty good for the most part now. We're into the mid-morning throughout the state. It's really our Hudson River crossings are still seeing a ton of traffic as well. But we are going to focus in on the cameras here first because traffic and weather always go together. As we go full screen here, you can see that the visibility is vastly improved here from maybe even an hour ago. This is going to be 78 in the Parkway in Union. 78 is this roadway here at the top. Heading to the west, so visibility definitely improving there on the Garden State Parkway. Let's show you South Jersey, since that's where we're going to focus in with our maps here in just a moment. This is going to be, again, a soggy start out by the Cape May Toll Plaza this morning. Also, we go into the Wildwoods. This is out by 4A. Now, granted, we are looking at just the entrance ramp, but nonetheless, you can see no visibility issues there whatsoever with just some wet roads. Let's go to the maps of South Jersey now. We'll focus in here. Just saying south of Toms River Parkway is good. So it's you out towards Long Beach Island, Route 9. Again, Parkway, we're fine. South of 63, Route 30, 206 in Chemung, Tabernacle, Berlin, 73, 70, 38, all great. It's still some crowding here into 42, but it's kind of the normal stuff getting into the construction. And then south along 295 getting out to 76. That is still busy. Ben Franklin is still pretty heavy into Philly. Walt Whitman, we're doing just fine. Commodore Barry Bridge is good. The Turnpike 295, 130. And again, typically is most of South Jersey here is usually quiet other than some outlier, let's say on 55 or 40, but nothing being reported even on 77 in Bridgeton. Same thing in Millville, 55, 47, 347. We're good all the way down into the aforementioned Cape May area, Wildwood, Cape May, Stone Harbor, Avalon, Parkway, Route 9. Everything is good. Let's go back to the Hudson River crossings. Again, we're still dealing with just about 90 minutes or so for the upper. There was an accident on the eastbound cross Bronx in that normal spot. Usually it's always something happening by Jerome Avenue. That's gone, but the damage done, about 45 to an hour for the lower, about 40 now at the Lincoln. That's some residual volume, alternate volume, I should say, coming down into the Lincoln, and about 25 to 30 at the Holland. Usually around this time, about 9:45 or so, we're usually clear of these delays. New Jersey Transit's are close. PATH also is going to be in good shape as well. Again, really the optimum thing here, just give yourself a little bit of extra travel time, with the wet conditions out there. And there's still maybe sporadic pockets of fog, let's say out in Morris County along Route 80 or Route 15. That's what's happening here in the traffic center. Cara, Kristina, send it back into you.
All right, Don, thanks so much.
So this is some cool news. 2 baby bald eagles hatched during the snowstorm earlier this week. We have the adorable footage. Oh, look at the little nuggets. This was taken from the webcam at Duke Farms in Hillsborough. The 2 baby birds join the world as the bald eagle population in New Jersey continues to grow thanks to recent conservation efforts. According to the New Jersey Bald Eagle Report, a total of 250 bald eagle nests were found in 2022. This is just spectacular. So, you know,
Duke Farms has had their Eagle Camp for years now, and so they always kind of announce like, "Hey, we're getting close.
We're there.
Or, you know, we're there." And so it's a great eagle habitat, and they've definitely contributed to the eagle population here in New Jersey alone. But it was cool the other day when the one just hatched so far, and you could see it surrounded by the snow. It was really cute.
Aww.
It's a really cute thing. So yeah, and Duke Farms itself is really
Duke
fun
Farms
to
is
visit.
a beautiful place to visit. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Staying on the animal track, 7 sheep will now live in an animal sanctuary after escaping a slaughterhouse in Patterson. It's a wild story, all pun intended. The animals were spotted wandering the streets. One of them even made it as far as Fair Lawn before being captured. 2 of the sheep were given a police escort in the back of the cruiser.
I want that photo.
After the situation was brought under control, the sheep were given to Skylands Animal Sanctuary and Rescue in Sussex County. I mean,
rightfully so.
The photos are amazing. You know, but we hear about this every so often, right? I was working in New York City, and I remember having to do a story on a cow being loose on the Major Deegan.
I remember that.
And he ended up, I think, at Skylands also,
Yeah.
the sanctuary. But it's like, you know, it's just crazy.
People don't think about because they a lot of times the animals get like shipped in the early morning hours, so like you don't see them kind of but like stuff does happen and they get out and they, you know. But I love that, you know, we seem to kind of have this policy like if you escaped on your own, you go to the sanctuary.
Yes.
That's it. You're done. You made it.
It's worth it. Yeah. So your freedom is well earned.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Very cute story.
We love this story too. The Salvation Army of Asbury Park is teaming up with the Dillons of Woodbridge to provide free music lessons to kids.
So joining us now to talk about it is Major Josh Lyle of the Salvation Army. Good morning.
Good morning. That's a tough one to follow.
No, we love this one too. Tell us about this program and what is making this partnership basically a reality for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So we started a new program this fall that we call the Learning Zone, and it's basically an educational after-school program. We're seeing so many of our neighbors come into our building for help, and many of them have a language issue as they're navigating, you know, their new lives here in the United States. And so we wanted to provide some educational help, and then on top of that, you know, we just thought, you know, these kids really deserve the best that we can offer them, and so we partnered with a great, great partners, Steve and Lynn Dillon up at Dillon's Music in Woodbridge, to provide free music lessons to these children that are coming to this program. You know, when we look around our neighborhood and see the kids that are, you know, walking to school and, you know, need a safe place after school to go, we wanted to step in and meet that need, and then also, you know, help them out with maybe a new skill or maybe a new hobby or activity that they can get involved with. So we offer brass lessons. We're actually teaching them how to play ukuleles. So we're starting them on ukuleles, and then we have a dance class as well.
That's fantastic because music truly is universal. It doesn't matter what country, what language you speak. It truly is universal. I love it.
Yeah, that's so true. Like I have in one of the classes, I teach one of the ukulele classes, and none of the kids speak English, and I don't speak Spanish, but somehow we're able to get through it and get it done.
That's fantastic.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
What an amazing experience for the kids and for you, I imagine. Why do you, so if you're teaching the class, then you obviously have a love and a talent for music yourself. Is that kind of what went into going in the direction of teaching music? Is that what influenced that choice?
Some of it. I think the Salvation Army has a long-standing excellence of music in our music programs, and you know, we just have so many great music educators that are our volunteers and that partner with us, and so just we have a few you know, school teachers and you know, music teachers that are just looking for a way to give back, and you know, these families can't afford this program. And so these volunteers come and give their time every week. And so the program runs on Thursdays from 4:30 to 6:30. And it's really kind of a drop-in kind of a situation where they can just kind of show up and sign up on the spot and jump into the program right where they're at. And we'll find an instrument for the child. And, we really want to provide services not just to the parents as the Salvation Army looks to help those living on the margins of life with, food and rent and just the necessities of life. We want to really have wraparound services with the entire family. And that goes to the children as we help them with homework and school activities. And then, what a great thing that we can do by put an instrument in somebody's hand and teach them a new skill on how to play it.
I can't imagine. I mean, describe the feeling when you see a child pick up a ukulele and then get it and understand it and then start playing it. What is that like for you?
Yeah, it's very loud because they like to yeah, and we just have to start really slow. But once like last week, I had my class and we actually played through one song. And they just played 2 or 3 chords. And at the end of it, it was just like, yeah, we did that. Just a few weeks ago, you didn't even know what a ukulele, I can't even say it, a ukulele is, let alone play an entire song. And it really just brings smiles to these kids' faces. And then it's awesome, too, when we see them get off the bus, because we pick up some of these children at their home once they register. We provide transportation for them. And they get off the bus and they come running into our building and they all have their instruments and their bags and their music and all of the stuff they're so excited to be here. It just really is such a wonderful time on Thursday nights here at our building.
Certainly gratifying.
It just sounds wonderful. Where can people go to find out more or to sign up?
Yeah, great. They can go to our website, which is salvationarmynj.org/Asbury Park, or they can call our office at 732-775-8698.
Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you and all the great work that you guys are doing. Truly, it's amazing.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Awesome. I just love it.
I love it. What a great thing.
I mean, and it's free, and it's just, I love it. Just helping people grow. It's always a good thing. All right, let's get another check of your forecast, meteorologist. Mike Favetta has a final check, and in for a mixed bag, for sure.
A little bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, we had our snow early this week, so those that were waiting for some snow to fall during winter, technically, still winter, so it counts. But with a little bit of rain and snow this weekend, mostly rain, really emphasizing that wet portion, it's going to stay a little gray going forward. There will be some sun this afternoon. However, by tomorrow, we're back to the showers, and that wet weather even sticks with us on Saturday. Sunday clears out nicely, a beautiful finish to the weekend, great weather for the parade in Belmar, and then by Monday we're back in the low 50s, so Monday will feel quite pleasant, more seasonable for March. Tuesday and Wednesday holding around 50 and then dipping back to 46 degrees about a week from now. So still have some interesting weather ahead, not entirely in the clear because the beginning of March trying to throw a few curveballs at us, but I think we'll get through them one day at a time, especially since there's no deep freezes in the forecast. We're doing okay to start off climatological spring, because astronomical spring, the one that everybody celebrates toward the end of the month, that one is the way the planets are aligned. This one, the climatological spring, actually began yesterday. So happy spring from the climatology office.
Nice.
There you go.
I like
Okay, interesting. Good to know.
We just have to line everything up now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Make it happen. Yes. All right, Mike, thanks so much.
And Don Smith is here for that last look at what's happening on the roads.
Yeah, thanks, Cara. Thanks, Kristina. You know, we always say traffic and weather go together, and we're still seeing some fog out here this morning, so you got to be real careful until we get some of this sun to maybe burn off some of the low cloud cover. Let's take you over to the graphics here this morning. We're going to bring in the cameras from my good friends and partners of the DOT this morning. We'll show you a live picture of Route 80. This is out in basically western Morris, Warren County, right on the border, around through Stanhope, Roxbury. You can see that the fog is still fairly heavy here out by exit 25. This is out by Route 94 out towards the Blairstown area. Visibility maybe improved just a little bit, but not much. Could, again, just be where this camera is located. This is out through Denville. You can still see a little bit of fog hanging around with us. Let's bring in a couple other cameras. Let's see what 78 is. This is going to be through Jugtown Mountain. Let's check that out together. And yeah, that's still going to be a foggy ride. This is out by exit 11 for Pattenberg Road, and visibility gets a little bit better there. Again, it's kind of in that valley through the mountains. This morning is just a little bit foggy. Let's go to the maps, and we've settled things down fairly nicely, even since we came on the air here at 9 o'clock in the last 45 plus minutes on Route 80, 208, 17. Again, we're still pretty busy both ways by Central Avenue and Rochelle Park. Eastbound 46 is heavy into Route 3. The construction for Route 3 finally has thinned itself out in the green from basically the Meadowlands out to the Parkway. North on the Parkway is still a little busy out through between 147 up towards the old Essex Toll Plaza. 280 is good all the way through West Orange. Even 80 finally has settled down here from Wharton into Rockaway on over to Denville into Parsippany, and then 287 we're fine getting out through Mars. So again, traffic beginning to thin out really nicely here. And just be aware of some of the potholes. I've noticed, especially on the Parkway, at times you're come up on some of these major craters, and you kind of have to dodge left or right. 78, as we showed you the cameras out through Hunterdon County, is good. North along Route 18, it looks like they're doing the road work here at the John Lynch Bridge again. So watch for that as you make your way in through Piscataway. Still some fog with us at the Driscoll Bridge. Same thing down the shore here in towards Homedale, out by the Arts Center, and the normal spots where foggy conditions arise. And then 195, the Turnpike is clear. Parkway, everything. The rest of the state is all in good shape. But what is not in good shape here, we'll give you the freshest numbers just to give you the totals here at the George Washington Bridge. Wow, hey, look at that. We're down from 95 minutes to 61. Wow, you're throwing a party. So it's still an hour at the George, about 45 for the lower. That's for the upper, about a half an hour at the Lincoln, and about 25 to 30 at the Holland. These numbers here, I think, is going to be alternate volume from the George problems. We had an accident there on the Cross Bronx that's long been cleared. And transits are closer. Still have, for some reason, this Trenton cancellation at the 7:31 time frame. So that's about it on New Jersey Transit, and Path is on or close to schedule. That's what's happening in yet another busy traffic center for a Thursday morning. Drive safely, everyone. Be careful out there. And Cara, Kristina, we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Thanks so much, Don.
Time now for the Bear Buzz, and here's what's happening in the entertainment world. Union Township native Ray Liotta was posthumously honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. That's his daughter right there, Carson. She was there for the honor and spoke about her dad. His last movie, of course, Cocaine Bear, hit theaters last weekend, coming in at number 2 at the box office. Well, Wyckoff's own the Jonas Brothers, who also just got their own star. They're headed to Broadway for a 5-show limited engagement run at Broadway's Marquee Theater, March 14th through the 18th. The Jonas Brothers on Broadway, 5 albums, 5 nights, will feature the 3 brothers performing a different album each night along with some of their greatest hits. That's going to be a good one. Hard to get tickets, I hear, already. Rolling Stone, by the way, released its list of top 200 greatest singers of all time, and a few New Jersey faces on the list. Coming in at number 77, the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen, right there. And number 2, no surprise, Newark's own Whitney Houston grabbing that spot, being only edged out by the great Aretha Franklin, who took the top spot. So who do you think should be on the list? A lot of hubbub about who didn't make the list, like Celine Dion. What? Cher? Pink? I mean, really? So there was a lot of controversy over this, being like, okay, this list is kind of a little... You know,
this is
Jennifer
shambles.
Hudson, another one that didn't make the list. So let us know, who do you think should be on the list and who didn't make it? Frank Sinatra, by the way, another New Jersey native, came in at the top 20, but, you know, not top 10, which is weird.
I could say, you know, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so it was also another busy night in the sports world last night. Here now to tell us all about it is our own Chris Sakonis.
Well, the Devils came up with the win in an absolute goal fest last night in Denver, beating the Colorado Avalanche 7-5. 7 different Devils finished with a goal apiece in the win. Dawson Mercer led the team with points, adding 3 assists to his goal for a 4-point night. Devils now continue the West Coast trip tomorrow night at 10 as they head to Nevada to take on the Vegas Golden Knights. Rangers completed the comeback over the Flyers in overtime as Vladimir Tarasenko scored the game winner. With the win, the Rangers now gear up for the arrival of star forward Patrick Kane, who comes to New York following a recent blockbuster trade with the Chicago Blackhawks. Over to the NBA now, where the Knicks blew out the Nets at 142 to 118 at the Garden. Jalen Brunson continued his hot start with a 39-point outing in the win. Quentin Grimes also finished with 22 points. Julius Randle had 21. Cameron Johnson was the leading scorer for the Nets with 33 points. Nets have now lost 4 straight. Look to snap that skid tomorrow against the Celtics. And finally, in college basketball, Rutgers looks to lock up their 3rd straight NCAA tournament bid tonight with a road matchup against last place Minnesota. Scarlet Knights have not made 3 straight tournaments in a row since the 1970s. For the New Jersey Morning Show, I'm Chris Akonis.
Go Knights.
A lot of action.
Like to see them do it. All right, guys. That about does it for us today on the New Jersey Morning Show. I'm Cara Falco.
And I'm Kristina Behr. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.